and probably by the beginning of next week we'll be at full speed.
Children ages 5 through 11 can now get the COVID vaccine.
I always make sure to have my pepper spray, which is on my keys. And then in the beginning of the semester, I would always walk with my hydro flask, so like you can pepper spray and hit someone.
Many female BYU students say they have safety concerns about the walk from the overflow parking lot to Heritage Halls.
So let's celebrate tonight, and tomorrow we'll continue the work together. Thank you, everyone.
Here in Utah and all over the country, the ballots are pouring in. Welcome to UniverseLive. I'm Emily Jones.
And I'm Katie M. Powell. It's Wednesday, November 3rd. The results are in for the elections in Provo.
Out of the more than 280,000 registered voters, less than a quarter showed up to vote. Michelle Kafusi won the race for Provo mayor in a landslide. She took 75% of the votes, and her opponent, Kenneth Dudley, only earned 24% of the votes. Catrice McKay is the new city council member over Cityside 1 with 53% of the votes. George Hanley won the spot on council for District 2, running as the only candidate. And Rachel Whipple will serve on the council for District 5 after getting 53% of the votes.
Election day was yesterday, and voters across the country headed to the polls.
Voters had a lot of responsibility this year because they decide the national political landscape and the direction of the Democratic Party a year into Biden's presidency. Harley Hunsaker is in studio to tell you everything you need to know. Harley?
Yes, Emily, you're right. This election cycle is very telling on the nation's political climate, and the outcome of the Virginia governor race proves just that.
On day one, we're going to work.
Republican Glenn Youngkin won the Virginia governor's race early this morning. Youngkin's win rolls back progressive gains in the state as Youngkin becomes the first Republican to win statewide office in Virginia since 2009. His opponent, Democrat Terry McAuliffe, had hoped to win a second non-consecutive term by tying Youngkin to former President Trump. Youngkin praised Trump early in the race, but successfully kept him at a distance. A winner in New Jersey's race has not been announced, but much like in Virginia, it might not turn out the way Democrats expect. Incomplete returns show Republican candidate Jack Chitterley and current Democrat Governor Phil Murphy were separated by about 1,200 votes out of more than 2.3 million cast. Murphy has been leading in the polls, has a 1 million voter registration advantage, and had more cash in his campaign than Chitterley in the final days of the race. But the Republican has far surpassed the Republican nominee from 4 years ago in fundraising and has seen the gap in public polls move in his favor, if only by a few points. Now, if we take a look at Boston, Democrat Michelle Wu will become Boston's next mayor after her more moderate challenger conceded. Wu's win makes her the first woman and person of color elected to the top post in the city's history. Last night, Wu said to a crowd of supporters, quote, "From every corner of our city, Boston has spoken. We are ready to meet this moment. We are ready to become a Boston for everyone." Democrat Eric Adams has been elected as the second black mayor in New York City's history. He defeated Republican Curtis Sliwa in Tuesday's general election. Adams is a Brooklyn native who serves as its borough president. The retired NYPD captain embraced a public safety message for his campaign. He won a chaotic Democratic primary this summer on a promise to both beef up and reform the NYPD amid worries over a rise in violent crime. And lastly, voters in Minneapolis rejected a ballot measure to overhaul the police department. The initiative was drafted amid the national fury over George Floyd's murder by a police officer. However, the majority of voters were concerned that the initiative was not specific enough, and they were not willing to simply put their faith in the elected officials to make those wanted changes.
Today has been called monumental, a turning point in the pandemic. Kids 5 to 11 are now eligible to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Britt Conway has the latest on the rollout.
And there it is, Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for kids 5 to 11 going into little arms already after getting emergency use authorization from the FDA and then the CDC's recommendation. These kids in Connecticut lined up for their first shot Tuesday night. The same night the vaccines arrived at this Ohio hospital.
Right there, it's 1,000 doses.
And at this hospital in Texas. And Pfizer is packing up and shipping out millions more. There are about 28 million kids 5 to 11 who are eligible to get vaccinated now.
It will be 1/3 the dose, but it's still a 2-shot series, 3 weeks apart.
Possible side effects include arm soreness, fever, fatigue, and headache.
And I think whatever side effects we see really have to be compared against the risks of not getting the vaccine. More than 8,300 children in this age group have been hospitalized due to COVID-19. A third of them ended up in the ICU.
Children now make up a disproportionate number of new COVID-19 cases, accounting for a quarter of all the new cases last week. But health experts believe this vaccine
1, 2, 3, poke.
will change that.
If we have safe and effective vaccines, why wouldn't we make those available to families to make that decision and protect their children?
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Tonga enters lockdown after getting its first COVID case from a missionary from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on a New Zealand flight. The Church of Jesus Christ confirmed to a Honolulu news organization that the infected traveler was a missionary with the church. Tonga is under an 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. curfew on its main island, Tonga Tapu. Public transportation is shut down and the government has told Tongans to only leave for essential reasons. The missionary is the only one to test positive out of the 200 people on the flight.
A private collection of artifacts related to the Church of Jesus Christ is for sale for $3.2 million. The G. Ralph Bailey collection has more than 4,000 items that date back to the early 1800s. The collection includes letters written by Brigham Young when the Saints arrived at the Salt Lake Valley. It also has early pamphlets from the church, 3 first editions from the Book of Mormon, legal documents, and drawings from Utah artist Jack Sears. The collection will be sold as a complete set.
One parking lot feels a lot too far from a comfort for BYU students. Allie O'Ryan is live in one of the BYU parking lots. Allie, why do some of the women feel unsafe despite BYU's resources?
Well, BYU already has notoriously bad parking, but from some students at Heritage Halls, especially women, the walk from the overflow parking to their apartments at night isn't just annoying, it's scary.
There are 3 B lots where residents at Heritage Halls can park. First, the lot around the apartments, then the lot near the BYU Health Center, and then overflow parking at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, each increasingly further than the last. The walk from the first lot?
Like a 5-minute walk to my apartment, but you only get a spot, I'd say like 3% of the time.
The second?
It's about a 10-minute to 15-minute walk.
And the third at the stadium?
From the stadium, it's about a 20-minute walk home.
And the first 2 lots fill up fast. So at night, when there's no parking nearby, girls living in Heritage Halls have to walk a mile to get to their apartments. For a young college girl, it's scary.
I really don't like walking in the dark.
According to the Daily Universe Police Beat, since January, 43 cases of sexual assault or rape have been reported in Provo, about 1 reported a week. 28 cases, more than half, happened on or within a mile of BYU campus. BYU has resources to make students feel safer, one being the SafeWalk app. When a session is started, BYU police track your location till you get to your destination. Its features include a red emergency button that calls the police when pushed, and if a user stays in one location long enough, BYU police will text or call to check if you're okay. Young women know the dangers. They walk in groups, carry pepper spray, get rides, or even park in other parking lots and wake up early to move their cars. But it doesn't eliminate the fear.
I'm a 5'2" girl at night, all alone. Like, yes, I have pepper spray, but that's not going to protect me from everything.
The consensus is clear. Students want more parking close by, not just for convenience, but for safety.
I'll be doing a part 2 of the series to test the SafeWalk app and other BYU resources to see if they actually do help students on their walk home. Reporting live in Provo, I'm Allie O'Ryan. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Allie.
Brigham Young University is number 15 on the first college football playoff rankings. This comes after the shootout against Virginia, which ended with BYU beating Virginia 66-49. The Cougars are the second highest rated team outside the Power 5 conferences behind only number 6 Cincinnati. This week, BYU plays Idaho State here in Provo for the last home game of the season. Provo Power has some lofty goals.
We also decided to get rid of some of our coal resources and replace that with more sustainable solar power.
See what the changes the city plans to make in order to reach its sustainability goals.
The storm we had on Monday is now gone, and what we are left with are the cooler temperatures. We'll take a look at this week's fall conditions.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know, wherever you are.
Provo Power is the largest municipal power system in Utah, and they're moving towards being more sustainable.
Carly Wasserline went to the Energy Department to find out how close the city is to that goal.
In May, the Provo City Council made a decision that was a little bit shocking. On May 5th, 2020, Provo City approved a motion to switch Provo Power to 60% green renewable energy by 2030.
We are close to 50%.
Sustainability can be tricky to navigate, but Travis Ball, the director of Provo Power, shed some light on the subject.
But we also decided to get rid of some of our coal resources and replace that with more sustainable solar power.
Provo Power built a 4-megawatt solar plant in Spanish Fork and are building an 80-megawatt plant north of Mona in conjunction with a few other cities.
The difficulties is every time you build something that is intermittent, like a wind or a solar plant, you have to have something that backs it up.
So, in order to not leave Provo in the dark, Provo Power needs sources of energy that are a little bit more reliable than solar and wind.
We purchased a natural gas plant up in West Valley that was about 200 megawatts that can start very quickly to back up any of our intermittent power supplies.
Brigham Young University has done its part in helping Provo reach its goal.
And part of that we're counting as a green resource is the combined heat and power is considered to be a green resource.
After the solar plant near Mona is built, Provo Power is expecting to be at or near 51% green renewable energy, which is on track for its goal of 60% by 2030. Provo Power is on the lookout for more opportunities for solar power and are closely watching the technological advancements in the battery sector. Reporting for UniverseLive in Provo, I'm Carly Wasserline.
Thanks, Carly. For more information, visit provopower.org.
Look how beautiful campus is at BYU. It is overlooking Mount Timpanogos there in the background, and the skies are bright with just a little cloud coverage there. So many fall colors. It is a good time to be a Cougar. And these are the conditions that we'll see primarily throughout this week as well. Happy Wednesday. I hope you had a great Halloween weekend. We had a storm Monday and Tuesday, and these were the temperatures that we had from there yesterday, and we're gonna get just a little bit colder from there, but overall it's going to be a beautiful week just ahead of us. And behind me on our radar, what you can see are the cooler temperatures from this morning, 40s to 60, but then it will warm up as well as we go throughout the day. And then for today's temperatures at night, we're going to see pretty cold right there in those 30s right across the board. Price, we're going to get 57 as your high, Richfield 61 as your high, and St. George 75 is going to be your high tonight, 51 is your low as well. For southern Utah, how you're going to be seeing that sun all week through that weekend. It's going to be beautiful. And take a look, the 70s, high 70s throughout the week, and then you're going to reach those 50s there at night. But then in northern Utah, we're going to see that sun as well Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but then that rain is going to hit us again Monday, getting down to 60 degrees and then 40 degrees at night. So what we're going to do is prepare for that rain. You guys, the sun is going to be here. It's going to be beautiful, but now we can eat this cozy food because it's fall, and I just love Ruth's Diner. That's where we got to go.
Oh, I'm so game for Ruth's Diner. Thank you for joining us today for Universe Live. For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu.
Have a great day.
Yeah, Ruth's Diner is such a hidden